everyone, and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host, Aaron, and for today's video, we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. EHG, the studio behind LE, dropped its mega post on Endgame balance and itemization. This is Hype Week Day 3, and there is a ton of info in this post. Hopefully it's not going to be like an insanely long video. I don't know. It might be. Now, the first half of this post is all review. This is everything that we actually saw yesterday that Carve broke down for 1.2 on Talkative Tries podcast. And I already made a full video on that. I will link it at the end of this video if you haven't seen it. So just know at the beginning of this post, it's going to be review. The most important info on here is around balance. So we are going to cover balance. All right, let's jump in. Forge of Shattering. As you guys all know, you're going to be able to create your own sets in Last Epoch. Put your set items in here, break them down to get reforged shards. Then take those reforged shards and you got your little green line here. Make your avocado set. They kind of change the color of sets when you forge and make your own. You could turn your magic, your rare, your exalted, your champion items, your experimental items, and create your own sets. It is unbelievable. Idle enchanting. Now, you can't actually craft the affixes you want onto your idol. This is kind of more like PoE2 slot machine RNG crafting. But ultimately, what's cool about this is you can re-enchant it over and over and over again by using the new currency, the new Amber currency, which you get from tombs and cemeteries. But ultimately, there is going to be a power creep on idols because not only are the affixes better, but now you can have 4 affixes, and the 2 suffix affixes or the enchanted affixes, you can get double tier 7s. So ultimately, imagine 14 extra tiers coming to your class idols. Unbelievable. Very, very cool. And again, you could just keep re-enchanting it. So if you have a perfect idol, you could just build up the currency, 500 memory amber, and just keep hitting it until you get the one you want. Attribute swapping. This is the one where I knew people were going to be like, oh crap, during the podcast yesterday. Basically, replaces an attribute affix on an item that has at least 1 forging potential. So if you're out of forging potential, you cannot swap, which I think is smart. They made it that way so you just can't swap back and forth over and over and over again forever. But if you have an item that has an attribute on it and it has forging potential, you could turn that attunement to strength or strength to intelligence or intelligence to dex. You can now swap your attributes. You guys didn't see that one coming for sure. Now, I can't pronounce this word. This new device allows you to take boots, gloves, or belts, and you can just pick your experimental affix. So you're going to have a new woven echo where basically you can select your experimental affix on the said item. It was also leaked yesterday by Carve that the hit a potion and make zombies. You guys all know what I'm talking about. That affix has been removed for the game. It's basically been abused in so many different ways, so they have removed it. And now when you hit a potion, you summon bees. So instead of zombies, you're going to get bees, but you're going to be able to place your experimental affix. What this does is it removes a prefix and it changes it with an experimental affix. Re-rolling uniques. There's so much itemization. Offer a unique, legendary, or weaver or set to sacrifice to the weaver to re-roll. Basically, I try to think of an example like Herald of the Scurry, Zizarin Squirrel Helmet. There is crazy roll ranges on that item. And if you find a few of them, you could actually sacrifice one to re-roll it. Or if you throw a legend or a unique in a nemesis and you get just something terrible, you can take that as fodder to re-roll a different unique. So this will also re-roll all the affixes and the implicits on the item. Very, very cool. Legendary crafting potential. So you got this big sea turtle. It's enormous girth. Okay. And on here, this is another woven. This is woven potential. Offer your legendary potential to the weaver to reforge or consume existing to her design. So let's say you have a bunch of 1 LP uniques. You put them in here, you hit re-roll, and ultimately it either goes up to 2 LP or it goes down to 0. So if you have a bunch of terrible 1 LP uniques, what you can do is bring it to 0 and then throw it in a nemesis. So you're going to have a lot more uses for your uniques. New crafting materials. This just makes it where Weaver's Will, you don't have to kill enemies. It just instantly brings the Weaver's affixes down. Rune of Havoc shuffles the tiers of non-sealed affixes on the exalted item with 4 non-sealed. So if you got a T7 on Shock Chance and you want that T7 on Crit Multiplier, you can use a Rune of Havoc and you could shuffle the affixes around until you get the ones you want with the right affix hit. And then you got the Rune of Redemption. Randomly changes the exalted affix on an item into a different affix, does not change their tiers. So basically, let's say you get a triple exalt and it's got 3 affixes. You've got regular damage, minion damage, and something stupid. You can basically switch them all out and try and get a right hit. Of course, it costs forging potential. This is going to be one of the strongest runes in the entire game. Okay. All right. We are on to balance. Boss Ward. All right. I don't want to read all this. I know a lot of people hate it. It replaced dynamic damage reduction, where if you have been an Epocher for a long time, Boss Ward was like a breath of fresh air. I know nobody believes me. I talk about it on stream all the time. Boss Ward for the OG players. We were so excited that EHG finally did something about this old hidden system. But since there's a visual on it, the enemies having Ward, it just immediately some kind of mental, this feels terrible. So ultimately what they are doing is Boss Ward is going to decay twice as fast. All right. And you're only going to see it on big fights. Aberoth, Harbingers, Shade of Orbis, Timeline bosses. So that means exiled mages, Nemesis, mini bosses. The ones that shouldn't have it will not have it. They're just getting a little boost to their life. I am telling you, everybody will be very happy. So not only do we not have dynamic damage reduction, Boss Ward is going to feel way, way better. Way, way better. Player balance changes. Here we go. How do we balance health, ward, offense, and defense between passive skills and items? What a great question. Now, a lot of people are worried that ward is getting killed. It's murdered. It's dead. They're cutting intelligence from 4% ward retention to 2. I can promise you, I'm telling you right now, ward is going to be just fine. They should probably actually take it to 1%, truth be told. All right. So obviously they're reeling in ward a lot, but there's going to be a lot of ways for you to get that ward back. So through itemization, they still want ward to be powerful, but they want you to have to work for it. So right now, you know, I've got to go into health. Then I got to go into health regen. Then I need to go into base health regen. Then I got to go into endurance percent. Then I got to go into endurance threshold. Then I need my crit avoidance. Then I need my resistances, right? It's like tons of different systems to stay alive. Or I could just stack intelligence and throw on a twisted heart, and I'm actually more tanky. So they just want you to work for your ward. Now, what are they doing? New idols coming to the game. You're going to have, these are on 1x1 and 1x2. You've got ward retention and ward per second on both of these. Very powerful idols. Okay. You're also getting a new hybrid affix, on rings. This is 40 ward per second and 230 ward decay threshold. That's really, really powerful at T7. Obviously, that is a perfect roll, but that is really, really good. It's also coming to amulets as well. Yeah, so this is rings and amulets can now roll this suffix. So you just got to work for it a little bit. Alongside the new affixes, we're also increasing ward per second affix found on helmets, body armor, helmets, and offhand catalysts. So on here, you'll see ward per second, offhand catalyst, helmets, and body armor, So they're giving you more ward per second. Looks like up to 66 ward per second. Health and endurance. All right, let's talk about health and endurance. This is what I really care about. In addition, Season 2 comes along with substantial buffs to health regen as well. This is mainly done by making added health regen less of a scarce stat, but also by slightly buffing the values of increased health regen. And we're going to start with the base value on rings. Health can now get a base roll up to 180. So that's pretty damn good. We're also getting a brand new affix here. Health with health regen on it, base health regen. So on your ring, you can now get flat health and flat health / regen base. I'll take that all freaking day. It's also coming on relics as well. I wish they would have shown a pic. They threw 3 pictures here. It should have been a ring, relic, ring to highlight it. But yeah, very, very cool new affix. They're also boosting the amount of health regen you can get on helmets, body armor, belts, rings, relics. But it will no longer spawn for gloves. So they've removed health regen from gloves, but on here, health regen on your body armor. And again, that will come on helmets, body armor, belts, rings, and relics. So you're going to have more ways to get your health regen at a higher roll value. They are endurance threshold. This one, I get what they're saying, but it's just less options. I don't know if I fully agree. So endurance threshold is being moved to belts only. So it is a high roll range. You can get up to 200 endurance threshold on your belt. And obviously on your belt, normally you take a hybrid health affix as well. But they don't want to clutter up the suffix options on your rings or other items. So now your endurance threshold is on belts only. Only rolls on belts. Global damage over time. Now, as you push corruption in this game, you know that like poison, bleed, ignite, void, or time rot, like this stuff murders you, damage over time. So what they are doing in season 2 is damage over time. Players will take 15% globally. Wait. In season 2, we are reducing the damage over time taken by 15% globally. So right off the bat, 15%, as well as having the current damage over time bonus enemies receive from corruption. So basically, damage over time, still going to be very dangerous, but it's not going to be as punishing. You will feel this immediately. Now let's talk about nerfs. Everyone's favorite. Everybody loves talking about nerfs. And this is stuff that's already been alluded to for a while. Okay. 4 builds that are getting nerfed. Now, EHG doesn't kill builds unless it is a bugged build. Okay. So what they do is if your build is the best by 1,000%, they'll bring it down where it's the best by 50%. So it's still the best. It's just not this insane outlier that you feel required to play, which I think is the right idea. Mana stacking, static orb, nerfed. Sacrifice with high minion count, nerfed. Falcon builds, I like how they put Falcon builds just in general, especially Dive Bomb and Potion Ballista are all getting reeled in. Now, I will say I am pretty surprised there is not a bullet point here that says Wraith Lord, because I'm pretty sure they've already nerfed the Wraith Lord, and it's still at like 5,000 corruption. I don't know. Maybe that will happen. Now let's talk about buffs. So we know that these are abilities and builds that are doing. Also, Frostclaw isn't on here. I don't see Frostclaw either. Let's talk about stuff that's getting buffed. And actually, we'll just start at the bottom and work our way up, because I'm more excited about the bottom here. Summon Bear now gains 20 health per strength and per level, previously 18. Forceful Swipes node also grants +1 melee damage per 3 strength of the bear. The swipe from Forceful Swipes now has a 2-second cooldown, previously 5. And remember that you can bring this cooldown, you can basically cut this cooldown in half through the node that's right after Forceful Swipes, which means we'll be able to use swipe. It's like every 0.8, 0.6 seconds, which is really, really good. We're thinking about season starting Summon Bear Beastmaster Primalist on April 17th. But yeah, Bear is going to be awesome. They've also buffed the Bear set, where now you get health regen per strength and you get endurance threshold per strength, and the 3-set bonus is 30 strength. And more. Okay, here we go. Other buffs. Black Hole is getting some love. Flurry's damage effectiveness has been increased. Shuriken's damage effectiveness has been increased. Acid Flask damage effectiveness has been increased. Tornado, Maelstrom, Ice Barrage. All damage and damage effectiveness has been increased. Dreadshade no longer has a cooldown. You can now hold 3 black arrows instead of 1. Thank you for this. Oh my gosh. Huge buff to marksman. Movement skills are, this is big too. You guys are going to love this. Movement skills are able to shortcut through corners and short gaps more than before. For example, skills like, I just love this so much. Fury Leap would normally allow you to traverse up to 30 meters worth of walking. Now you could traverse 60 meters, allowing you to jump across bigger gaps. You can jump pretty far. I mean, if you really time it right and you've got line of sight and there's nothing in your way, you can jump, you know, across the entire screen. They are doubling that distance on Fury Leap. And just truth be told, Primalist unequivocally, not even close. It has the worst movement skills. Basically, Fury Leap is your only option unless you're playing Transform Druid. So, I mean, they should make Fury Leap feel good. And they need to add another traversal skill somehow. They need to give Primalist another movement. Sentinel, I think, has 7. I think Sentinel has 7 movement skills. Primalist has Fury Leap and Summon Stormcrow. You traverse to the area. It's terrible. Warcry's Berserk buff's duration has been increased from 1 second to 1.5. This is also a Summon Bear buff. Puncture's Bleeding Fury stacks from Bloodthirst node now respect Puncture's conversions. For example, Poison, Cold, Bleed stack would grant Poison, Frostbite chance instead of Bleed. Nice. Burning Dagger's getting a big buff from 16 to 100 to 30 to 150. Disintegrates Laser now grants 40% less damage instead of 60% less ailment. And then this one's kind of like, I really wish they'd give them more life, some kind of leech, some survivability. Summon Skeletons, Bone Golem, and Skeleton Mages are all getting mana cost reduction. I guess the biggest one here is Golem. For Golem Mancer, it's nice. You'll be able to summon Golems more often. But yeah, I guess the cost reduction, I don't know. Manifest Armor and Wraithlord from Wraithlord's Harbor Unique Helmet are now much more responsive at high movement speeds, reducing the instance of minions struggling to move, so its intended location and skating instead. See that? They buffed Wraithlord. And Bear's getting a bunch of stuff. All right. This was going to be a long video. Right now we're on one take, no edits. Let's talk about existing uniques. Eye of Reen, the Eye of Reen. Eye of Reen no longer requires you to crit with a direct melee attack in order to gain a stack of Reen. This means you could use it on channeled abilities like Warpath. Eye of Reen is back on the menu, boys, for Warpath. Baldur's Wrath. Baldur's Wrath left their foes quaking in their boots. And now they are twice as angry. In Season 2, this unique will have a 100% chance to use Earthquake after using a non-channeled movement ability up to 2 times every second. Earthquakes are back on the menu too. I think they were never off the menu. Eye of the Storm. Eye of the Storms. This is the unique amulet drop from everyone's favorite boss, Lagon. Cloudy with a chance of Maelstrom. Not a chance anymore. Season 2, the Eye of Storms unique will now cast Maelstrom every 3 seconds while also gaining 16 to 15% increased lightning damage per active Maelstrom. You can still increase the amount of Maelstroms every cast per second, though, by combining this unique with Maelstrom's cast chance found on idols. Stormbreaker. I don't want to read all this. Stormbreaker now basically gives you a storm stack when you hit with the melee attack. Stormbreaker. Storm stack. Makes sense. New uniques. Here we go. They teased on X, or I guess on their socials, of a new catalyst coming for minion builds. This is definitely, in my opinion, an Acolyte thing. Actually, it looks like they have a Primalist holding it. All right, maybe it's not an Acolyte thing. But ultimately, what this does is it summons a historical enemy from Eterra. So this is an accurate minion from a random era of Eterra to join your journey. So you get to pick your minion. I don't know how much damage or strong they are. Probably kind of like the Crab Ring. All right. Elico's in Innovation. This is a new belt. Your critical strike chance also applies to your potion uses. When a potion use crits, the health and ward you immediately gain from it is multiplied by a percentage of your critical strike multiplier. 25% of the critical strike multiplier applies to potion. Health gained on potion use, ward gained on potion use, critical strike chance, crit strike multiplier. Huh? Ward? You guys like ward, right? Brewmaster's Buckle. I'm an endurance guy. I don't use ward very often, so I like Brewmaster's Buckle. 10% of max health gained as endurance threshold for 4 seconds when you use a potion. 349 health gained on potion use. Vitality, endurance, 3 potion slots. So let's just say you have 4,000 life. You hit a potion, that's 400 endurance threshold. Pretty cool. Outro, thank you for joining us today. Yes, we're all very excited. And you can also catch several EHG team members on the up-and-coming podcast with Aaron Action RPG and Frosty LaRue on the 11th. This will be the Patch Notes Q&A. Wow, 21 minutes, one take. No edits on this video. Unless I screw up right now. So yeah, the April 11th podcast that is coming up, so this Friday, it is going to be me, Frosty, Carve, Ross, Judd, and Mike. There's going to be 6 of us on this podcast. And believe it or not, there is still stuff unannounced. So we got some cool stuff we're going to be showing off. It's going to be a really fun podcast. It's supposed to be like the final hype before the big release. We'll be going over patch notes. It should be a really good time. Hopefully everything goes great. That is this coming Friday. Yeah, so that's the update, endgame balance and itemization, and we're going to cover all of this again on Aaron Action RPG on Twitch today. I got a feeling with answering questions, it's probably going to take a couple of hours. So please like, share, and subscribe, of course, if you think I've earned it. Don't forget to check out the Discord. We have a brand new treasure hunt community event kicking off April 17th. There's already 120 members or community members that have joined the new treasure hunt that we're going to be looking for shattered worlds. So don't forget to check out the Discord. It's also where we're going to do all of our subathon shenanigans that kick off with season 2, movie night, game night, giveaways. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you check out the Discord. Last but not least, if somehow you are still watching this long, my brand new website has launched, actionrpg.com. We've got creators like The Curse, Frozen Sentinel, Babbling Bike is working on builds, 37 guides that are fully up to date with videos, with loot filters, and the goal is to have all 37 of those guides up to date for season 2. It's built for mobile and obviously your browser. Check out actionrpg.com. All right, I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.